Hi, welcome to Motorcycle Ways. I've just taken delivery of oil and filter for my Honda CB 500X, so I'm going to give it a service. First off, I'll start by getting the necessary tools ready for the job. But first, let's take a look at the oil and filter, see that they're correct for the job. So here's our delivery of oil and filter. Let's open it up and make sure everything is right for the job. Now, what have we got? This comes from MMG. Never used these company before for delivery. So let's see what we've got. We've got our oil filter, which is Hiflo Filtro HF204. Yep, that's the correct filter for the job. And we've got our gallon of oil, 4 litres of oil, which is Motul 7100 10W30, 100% synthetic. Yep, that's exactly what I ordered. Excellent stuff. Happy with that. And as well, I got some bung washers to replace the old one, and I got a few spare ones as well to have, be no harm. So that's good. Now that we've got all our stuff in order, let's get our tools together for the job. Okay, so here I have lined up all the tools that we need for the job. We've got a 12mm spanner to open the bung. We've got a filter chain and ratchet to open the oil filter. And we've got a torque spanner to tighten everything up to the correct torque. And here we've got an old paint tray that I'm using for this job to drain the oil. And from that, I'll be putting it into a gallon can so I can dispose of it properly. But first off, we need to heat up the bike to drain the oil, so let's go for a spin. So we've been out for a ride on the bike to heat it up. As we can see there, the temperature is nicely up now, so let's get the oil drained. So the way to drain the oil in this Honda CB 500X is to leave it on the side stand, not on the center stand. And the reason for that being, if you just take a closer look in here and see if I can get a shot of this, you can see the bung there is on the left hand side of the sump. So it's best to have the bike leaning over to the left so that you can drain the maximum amount of oil out of it. So let's get this bung opened. There we are. I think my washer has just fallen into the oil. That's okay. I have a new washer anyways. I'll find it as I'm draining it into the gallon drum. The oil looks a bit thin, I think. It is good and hot, so it should drain fairly well. So now that that's draining there, I can remove the filter. So I'm just going to remove the oil filler cap here while the oil is draining, and it'll just make it, just to help it drain a bit better. So next, I'm going to remove the oil filter. Get my oil filter chain wrapped around it. I have a plastic bottle there over the exhaust, stop the exhaust, keep it clean. And that's it prized loose. So I'll just keep the exhaust clean with that plastic bottle. And there goes our oil filter. We'll let it drain there for a while now. Now, it's getting late in the evening, so I'm just going to let that drain there overnight and get back to it first thing in the morning. So, it's the following morning and we're back to finishing off the job of oil and filter in our Honda CB 500X. So the first thing I'm going to do is tilt the bike over to the right hand side so that any oil caught in the engine compartments will be fully drained out before we put back on our filter and drain plug. Now, before we put on the oil filter, I'm just going to clean any excess oil that's inside in the filter housing and clean around the seal area as well. As the seal will be seating there on the engine, it's important that it's clean. Now I'll just get our oil filter, remove the plastic. Before we put on our filter, it's just important to put some oil on the seal. So I have some clean engine oil here, and I'm going to rub it around the seal, like so, just to lubricate the seal. And to stop it from going on dry, and it'll be easier to remove the filter again when it's due for changing. Now I'm just going to tighten this oil filter by hand. You can torque them. I have a torque spanner, but I don't have the tool for the filter wrench to tighten it. And so, but it's good enough to tighten it by hand tight. It's tight, but you can put it with by hand. That will be sufficient. That's good and tight. So I'm going to clean up any excess oil and remove my plastic bottle, a makeshift plastic bottle. So I can clean any oil that's dropped down there. That's kept the exhaust clean anyways. That's handy. And clean up any oil that fell down there. That's our oil filter in place. So the oil drain plug is torqued to 30 Newton meters or 22 foot-pounds. So I'm just going to set my torque spanner here to 30 Newton meters and 22 foot-pounds. So we're nearly there. So see the 0 there at 30 Newton meters. And if we turn it around, we can see that's 22 foot-pounds as well marked there. So that's that set. So next I'm just going to clean any excess oil around the drain plug before we put the drain plug back on. So now we're ready for our drain plug. Now, I'm going to put new washer, crush washer onto the drain plug. You don't have to change the washer. You could, the old one would usually suffice, but when I was ordering the oil and filter, they came up and I just ordered 3 or 4 of them because they're not expensive, and why not put on a new one if you can get hold of them. So we'll just tighten that up by hand, and we have our torque spanner here set to the correct torque. There we have it. It's clicked. So that's it torqued. Just wipe any excess oil around the sump. And that is that. Now the oil I'm using for this bike is the Motul 7100, and the tin W30 is what is recommended. And I'm using a fully synthetic oil. Now you could use semi-synthetic as well, and the difference between the two really is synthetic is more expensive oil. You pay a bit more for it, but it's to be said to be a better oil. But the semi-synthetic works fine as well. I suppose if you are somebody who is a hard rider, pretty hard on the throttle and that sort of thing, or if you're in a really hot climate, temperatures of the bike are getting really high and that, then the fully synthetic oil is probably the best one to use. Now I'm not, I'm in the northwest of Ireland here, I'm not in a hot climate here or anything like that, far from it, but I'm still using the fully synthetic. It's just a better oil, so I just said for the sake of the few quid extra, I would get the fully synthetic oil and that. But either one, semi-synthetic or fully synthetic, will do, but the 10W30 is what is recommended. So now I'm ready here with my funnel and oil, so I'm going to start pouring. 2.7 litres is what's recommended of oil, and that's when you change the oil filter as well. So I've got some measurements on this gallon can that I'm going to go by, and it's probably going to be a slow pour because I've got a small filter, of course, but as well as that, the oil is it's going in on top of the clutch, so that'll slow it down a bit. Now I've seen the question asked about, can you use car oil for the motorcycle? Well, the answer is no, at least not on this motorcycle anyways, because it's got what you call a wet clutch. So that means the engine oil is mixed in with the clutch and lubricated by the engine oil, and therefore you cannot use car oil, because it's a different grade of oil, and if you use car oil, your clutch would start to slip and you would have all sorts of problems there. So no, always go with the motorcycle oil. So now I'm just going to check to see what's gone out of my gallon drum. That's just 1.5 litres, so I'm going to go with another litre maybe and check it then. 2.7 anyways, you know. It might look full in the glass window, but when you start the bike and it fills the filter and the different compartments of the engine, that'll go back down again. So you have to check it a couple of times. Make sure you have the right quantity in. So I think we're coming quite close there, so I'm just going to get the bike in an upright position and check that to see. So there we can see the glass window where we check the oil level. We have two marks, the lower mark and the upper mark. So I'm just going to put the bike in the upright position, see how much oil is in it. There we can see it rising up. So it's gone up to the upper level, the top, but once we start the bike, that'll go down again. We'll have to probably top it up. So I'm just going to run the bike for a few minutes and let the oil circulate around the engine and through the oil filter, and then we can check it. So we can see there, as soon as I started the bike, the level went down, but as soon as I got the bike upright, it had already gone down. So I just have to top it up again now, a bit more. So I think a small drop more will be enough to bring it up to the correct level. We don't want to overfill it neither. So now that I've topped it up some more, let's get the bike upright and check the level once more. And that level looks pretty good. We can see that it's not too high, it's not above the upper mark. You don't want it any higher than that, really. That's plenty. And if it's slightly below it, all the better. Once it's above, nicely above the lower mark is the important thing. But closer to the top mark, it's where it should be, really. And the important thing is to keep it checked daily to make sure that it stays within those limits, that it's not losing oil or burning oil. So that's happy with that. Now I'm just going to take the bike out for a spin now and give it a quick spin and heat it up, and then when I come back I'll be checking the level again just once more to make sure it's right, and I'll also check for leaks when the bike is warm, make sure there's no leak from the filter or the drain plug. Okay, so I've been out for a spin on the bike to warm it up, and as we can see there, our temperature is up. And so when the temperature is up, it's an important time to check for leaks after you've warmed up the bike. So I'll just look at the oil filter here. We can see it looks good, no leaks underneath it, so that's important. And if we look at the drain plug, yep, we can see it there, that there's no leaks from the drain plug neither. So that looks good. So that's something I should always check, double check. Okay, so there's the question of the old oil that we have drained out of the bike. What do we do with that? Well, it has to be disposed of properly in the recycling centre. So I'm going to drain that into this old gallon can I have here. I've got my funnel ready. But before I do that, I'm going to have a look for that missing washer that I lost when I opened the drain plug. It fell into the oil, I'm nearly sure, so I'm just going to have a look to see if I can find that. First of all, there's something here. Yep, there it is, the old bung washer. As I was saying, you can, if you don't have a new one, you can use the old one again. It can be used probably a number of times. That one looks in good condition actually. But if you have a new one, then why not use it? And they're relatively cheap to buy. So there it is anyways, I'll dispose of that as well. So I'm just going to drain the oil into this container. The handy thing about this tray is that it has a spout on the end of it, so I can pour the oil in quite easily. Now I'm just going to double check our level again once more to see that it's right. And there we can see with the bike in the upright position that the level is just under the upper level, which is the right place to have it. That's after the filter is filled and it's been running for a while, done a few miles on the road and warmed up. So there you have it. Oil and filter change in a Honda CB 500X. If you have any questions, just drop them in the comments below and I'll get back to you. And thanks very much for watching.